Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Deckin Around Community Corner. Today, we're going to be talking to Lou. But before we jump into it, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
And ring the bell.
So you may know Lou as Decked Out Cards on Instagram. Lou has created the hashtag DeckedOut365, which he recently revived to basically help aspiring card Instagram fans figure out what to post every day. And I think, that's actually one of the first interactions I had with you, Lou, was through Decked Out 365. So I'm glad to have you on the show and be able to talk to you today.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, welcome.
This is an honor.
I just noticed that Lou's hair goes this way. Tyler's, yours goes the other way.
Well, no, I don't know, but my camera's orientation is weird. Are you guys off?
Mine's reversed too, yeah. So This is my left hand, so it's all reversed.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah. You know what though? People's hair, over time, I think at this point in our life, we've probably all been combing our hair the same way for so long. It would probably just go that way naturally. You create your own little part.
No, with mine, this is the longest I've had hair. If you guys remember, well, when I first came on, the community, I was bald. I mean, I was bicking the shit out of my hair.
I do remember seeing a couple of the bald pictures of Lou. Yeah,
I didn't have facial hair except for my little tuft right here.
Yeah, you look completely different.
What do they call that? The Ho Chi Minh?
No, this is oh my God, what's the name of it? It's the same style as Johnny Depp. This is considered a beard, actually, believe it or not.
I know, but they growing up, I could have sworn they called it a Ho Chi Minh. Oh, Ho Chi Minh has just that.
Is it Ho Chi Minh? No, I know the Fu Manchu.
No, that's what it is. Fu Manchu.
Yeah, the Fu Man. But that's the long.
Yeah, you got the longer mustache on the sides and everything. Yeah.
Wait, I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah, go for it.
But yeah, I think it's funny because I know you posted something about, God, it must have been a couple months back now, of an old picture of you, and it was then and now, and everyone's like, holy shit, it doesn't even look like you there, and it really was night and day with the shaved head and the minimal facial hair. It was crazy.
Yeah,
it was Ho Chi Minh.
There we go.
Is it Ho Chi Minh? Nice.
Yeah, he has a longer one, but it's like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I used to be able to braid. So, anyways,
nice.
About facial hair.
That's
dude, that's how we work, man. We start somewhere, we go somewhere else, and we go back.
Hey,
to
I like it. I'm down.
Well, I think, and you know what? I think it's fitting though, because I think part of your personality within the community as well, Lou, is you're always very clean cut. You always have a fresh cut. You always have the fresh facial hair. It worked. So. It's a good starting point for it. I guess
you kind of got a spot. Doesn't grow, or no? I'm just kidding.
No, it doesn't grow there. But I mean, that works to my aesthetic. So
there you go. That is too funny. I was explaining to someone the other day that if you lift up a mustache for me, it's bald under here, and they're like, "Oh, that's why you let the ends grow longer." I'm like, "Yeah, because I have just two spots where it really won't grow, right here." So
yeah.
Facial hair is crazy, man.
It is.
Yeah, it does what it wants.
Yeah.
It only took me 30 something years.
It's so funny because Asian people obviously grow hair differently. You have the best skin, man.
Oh, I mean, I'm not gonna argue with you on that, man. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's dang, such good skin.
So to get us on track with cards here, so Lou, what was kind of the motivation behind Decked Out 365?
Decked Out 365. Well, I've always been kind of a community person, since I've started. And I started Decked Out 365. Initially, actually, was to be kind of a hub and a resource. Kind of like what you guys are doing right now. So I'm super stoked that you guys have taken that initiative, because I've obviously have not gone so much in that direction. But when I first started, I did not know what to post. I was trying to think of ways to be creative. I mean, we all do the typical, spread the cards out in different ways and then put the tuck on. You know what I mean? And it's cool because we see it. It looks good and stuff like that. But I wanted to do something to get the community involved and like provide inspiration, you
Nice.
know. So that's where that came from, and I didn't think it was gonna take off quite the way it did. I mean, I've gotten tons of requests, and I stopped for a little while just because I had stuff going on. But with the help of Chuck or Slightly Charred, he actually came up with the themes for last month. He goes, look, let's get this going again.
Oh,
Like,
cool.
I got your back.
Nice.
And he came up with themes, and I was like, all right, let's do it. And yeah, so we got it back. We got it back up, and it's got some traction again. So very cool.
It's cool. Yeah, people definitely dig it.
Yeah.
I think it's a super cool idea. I'm just so lazy.
No, I feel you, and that's the thing.
That's my job. And
it's not anything that like you have to hit every post. But if you're stuck, hey, what's today's theme? Well, you know what? I think I can do that. I can rustle up some things. I have a perfect deck for that.
Yeah.
And then also, if you want to, maybe you have a slow day, so you can knock out a couple themes in one day and just have those ready to go. You know what I mean? And then boom. And I mean, with producing content constantly, you have more visibility. I mean, people have been telling me they're getting more followers because of Decked Out 365.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, I think it's works to everyone's advantage.
No, which is awesome. And yeah, and I think, in a situation where, like you said, when you first got into it, you didn't know what to post. I think everyone kind of walks into it like that. Your first post, you're always like, ooh, I want to share this. You put it up. And then after that, you're like, all right, now what? Unless you have a constant supply of content available to you, it is very difficult to come up with the ideas. And I love the fact that Decked Out 365 really has that variation between all the days, so that you don't necessarily post the same exact thing every day. You get a little variety. Yeah. You get a little variety of color and composition to your feed, which is really nice.
Yeah, and then I think that's why I enjoy it too, because it's each day is so different. It kind of makes you think out of the box. It makes you dig for decks that you might not have remembered you had. You know what I mean? Like, so I think it gives exposure to some decks that maybe aren't getting as much love as some of the newer releases.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have some headphones there, bro?
Oh, are you guys?
Yeah, there's a little feedback coming through.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Oh, you know what though? Shit, I don't have corded ones, and my computer doesn't support Bluetooth. So the answer to that question is no.
We'll figure it out.
Okay, sorry. I can bring down my. Is it my own volume that I need to bring? Okay.
Yeah, that should be better. Yeah, I think that sounds better.
Okay, we'll try that. Sorry about that.
Hello.
Yeah,
check. Testes 1 and 2.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Some people only have one, buddy.
Oh shit, my bad.
That's why you should always check both of them in case you don't want to lose one.
So you don't lose one, exactly.
Yes. So there you go. I feel like we're already touching on real topics here.
This is it. Have you guys seen my Decked Out After Dark posts? I mean, nothing will face me at this point. So.
Yeah. Oh man.
I'm usually sleeping by then. Actually,
good for you. You're probably better off. So.
Man, I'm definitely sleeping by then, because I know 3 hours behind me, I'm in bed by midnight. So,
yeah, I got you.
Man. So I think one of the other interesting things that I think has come from your posting as well is obviously the Fanning Fam Fridays, which I always love, because all of a sudden my feed's just blowing up with everyone doing interesting fans across all of their different decks. And you just kind of mentioned too, the whole theme of Decked Out 365 or the Fanning Fam Friday really has shown off so many decks that I don't think I would have seen otherwise, or probably could be a couple years old. And that's one of the interesting things about this hobby, I think, is, like you said, the spotlight's always on what's the newest deck.
Yeah.
So what was actually the first deck that you actually picked up, though, that really got you decided on collecting?
Jeez. I believe it was the Black Tiger deck.
Okay.
Is what it was. Yeah. I mean, I've been collecting, 2 years, a little over 2 years now. And I mean, that deck had been out for a while, but it was the first custom deck that I had. I mean, aside from like stupid souvenir decks and stuff like that, like I was like, it's bicycle branded and it's black and white. Like, this is badass. You know what I mean? And
Nice.
Yeah.
that kind of got me into it. And then when I saw that there were so many other different like custom decks, and I knew that they could be collectible, that's all I needed to know.
Yeah.
Now, have you always been a collector of things? I know for myself, normally when people like get into collecting anything, they've collected other things, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I started, I think, collecting rocks and minerals when I was younger.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
I used to collect spiders, believe it or not. So I used to go out and catch spiders.
Dude, I think that's like, as a parent, if your kid collects rocks, that's so cool. You can just go outside and get some rocks and just, there you go.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. Merry Christmas.
It wasn't quite like that.
that would give new meaning to getting coal for Christmas.
Yes, that's awesome. If you guys want, I'll put my address out. You guys want to send me rocks, I will.
Hey buddy, go kick rocks, man. Tyler loves that. Tyler loves that.
I do love that saying. It's a good one.
He's always like, oh, that dude can go kick rocks.
Yeah. I'm like, yes.
That's Lou's new, we're gonna say that to Lou all the time. We're just gonna leave messages in his comments. Go kick rocks, dude.
Oh my god. But for Lou, we'll mean it in a nice way.
Exactly. That's funny. Okay, so rocks, minerals,
Spiders.
Yeah,
spiders.
Pogs.
And what?
Pogs.
You guys remember Pogs? The
Yes.
little
Why does that sound familiar? Oh,
it's a
little
game.
round
You have
thing.
the plastic, and you slam them down on the fucking thing.
Yeah.
I'm
Which
sorry, my mouth is super dirty, and I gotta like try to catch myself.
You're good.
fine.
We're past 10
just
minutes.
making
Do what you
sure.
got to do.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you can say anything as long as it's not degrading or
No worries.
or
I got you.
racist. You know, anything like that, we're fine.
No, you're good.
I've been actually pretty good. I usually swear a lot, but I've been pretty good lately.
Steve didn't swear at all the last episode of Deckin Around. It was shocking.
Well, you know that I'm comfortable when I start talking just the way I would fucking talk.
Which is good, and that's what we want people to do. We want people to feel comfortable on the show and really talk how they feel comfortable. You know, I mean, that's what community is all about: is being yourself with like-minded individuals. So,
Thank you. Yes,
that's for sure.
Yes, good stuff. But comic books I like, and
nice.
I mean, if I can collect it. Oh, there was one point in my life where I collected frogs.
Okay.
Like like anything that was frog. So if it was like a stuffed frog, if it was like little like glass frog, I mean, no matter where, I had upwards to like almost like 2,000 different frogs.
Oh wow.
Which was fucking weird. It was. And I look back at it, I'm like, what a fucking weirdo.
See, that's all fascinating to me, but the most fascinating thing is who bought them all. What'd you do with them?
Yeah, what did you do with all the frogs?
They
did you throw them away? Did you give me a kid? What did you do?
At the time, she actually it was one of those situations where I just had to like bounce.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, screw the frogs. You can have the frogs.
You can just keep the freaking frogs. I don't even care.
Everything. I just need to get out. So,
oh my god.
I'm leaving, and you can just keep the frogs.
There was a bunch. There was a bunch of frogs. It was crazy. Yeah.
And now it's her problem.
Did you guys get in fights? And she was like this. I'm gonna drop the frog. I'm gonna drop it.
Not quite.
Lou, I'm sick of you saying that. You better be careful. See this frog? I'm gonna drop it.
Oh my god.
That's funny. I always collected stuff that was like worth money if I needed to get money. You know, the baseball cards. What else did I like? I collected jujitsu outfits, which
did you really?
Dude, they were worth money. Yeah.
So are they basically like geese? That's it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
but
cool.
there's a brand. It's called Shoyoroll. I'm not sure if you've heard about it, but it's a jujitsu company, and they're pretty much like the supreme of jujitsu gis.
Nice.
So you could buy them and then sell them for like double. So.
Oh really?
I had 400.
See, I never went into it with that mentality. I'm the worst kind of collector because I open everything, I play with everything, I don't sell anything. And my wife or my ex used to say, because I'd tell her, well, this stuff is like worth money. She goes, it's only worth money if you're willing to sell it. And
no, for sure, no, 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's the thing. I would enjoy it. I'd wear the gis. You could still sell them out there, but
walking around like a badass.
Dude, you were like walking on the mat, and people were like, "Ooh, they have a show-you roll," because it used to be really hard to get them. Now you can.
Okay, so you're flexing
buy them anywhere,
but
I
like that.
Yeah, I mean, I would just like cards. Like I collect, but I'm not like a good collector because I open most of my stuff.
Yeah.
But the thing is I just always collected stuff, even if I did open it, that you could always sell it if you needed money. You know.
I feel you. Yeah.
But you know, I never did I did the comic book thing for probably literally 6 months.
Oh, really?
And then because I didn't read them. I just looked through them, and I was like, yeah. My dad collected comic books, so I I think that's why I did it, just to kind of, you know. But yeah, my dad collected Barbie dolls in the boxes and stuff.
Dude, those were some of those older ones that were worth like mad money, which understandably so.
He sold them all, but that's crazy. Some stuff is just crazy.
So Lou, what do you actually actively collect now other than cards? Anything else?
That's gonna take up the majority of my money and time, but if I go to like a Walmart or a Target, I will always automatically head to the toy section because I actually like toys. But Hot Wheels.
Nice.
Nice.
So I've actually chilled out a little bit because I was going pretty crazy. I mean, I think at one point I had like almost 7,000 Hot Wheels or something.
Man,
and then a few I had to offload because money was tight for a little bit. But if I see Batmobiles on the pegs, I'm taking all the Batmobiles that I can. So
nice.
I've got a lot of Batmobiles.
Nice. That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you ever go in a store and walk by and see a frog and you're like, ooh.
I will always. I always will give some time and attention to a frog.
Do you have a bug just for old time's sake, or do you just stay away from it just because you know how out of control with frogs?
I mean, I'll look at it. You know, I mean, before it didn't matter how cheeseball it was. Like I would buy. It was like I was like an old person. You know what I mean? Like all the little tchotchkes and weird like shit. I didn't discriminate. If it was a frog, I picked it up. So
look at him use the Hebrew word.
Is that what it is, right? Is that where it comes from?
Yeah, it's a Yiddish, dude. Tchotchke? It's such a Jewish word. Come on.
I don't even know how that's in my vocabulary, but it
know your roots, man. Know your root words.
I feel like tchotchke has become pretty mainstream. Like even I know that one, but like
yeah, of course.
That's too funny.
You know bagels too. You know.
Yeah, but is bagel actually like a Yiddish word, or I don't know?
Well, no, but it's freaking Jews made it up.
I mean, I'm from New Jersey. If I don't know bagels.
Is schmear Yiddish?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like, I don't think schmear is the Yiddish word. I think that's kind of like the translated word.
Gotcha.
I don't know. It's kind of, what's the word when it's slang? It's kind of like the slang word, I think.
All right.
Slang?
Actually, I don't know. Is it the actual? Dude, I don't speak Yiddish. You think I'm a good Jew?
I don't know. I'm not judging.
Oh my God! Listen, you're probably better than Lou and I would be right now because we have no idea. We're just learning things here.
I'm just I dated a Jewish girl back in the day. Actually,
I'm sorry.
She was actually the frog girlfriend.
The one that ended up with all your frogs.
That was So she has thousands of frogs. Probably.
Did she ever call you a schmuck?
No. Her dad did though.
That is too funny.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. That was an interesting relationship.
Yeah, it
was fun.
Well, I mean, Jewish families, they don't allow anybody in but Jews. Well, if they're religious, you know.
Yeah. Well, her brother was I forgot what you call it, but I mean when he would do like Sabbat.
He was Hasidic.
Yeah. So like there would be days where they couldn't turn on anything or cook or whatever.
Friday nights, man. Friday to Sunday. Friday to Sunday.
So that was interesting.
No thanks. I like to leave my lights on.
He didn't grow up that way. He actually, when he got married, he just all of a sudden like converted to hardcore. Like
must have been the woman that he was with. Maybe.
I think it was. Yeah.
The things we do for love, man.
So now, Lou, I'm gonna continuously throughout this entire episode, I can already tell, be the one who brings us back to that main vein.
Yeah.
So aside from cards, did you ever what brought you into cards? Was it an interest in Magic first? Was it an interest in cardistry first? Or was it really just like, I dig cards? I mean, clearly you have you're a collector of all things, large and small. So was it just that that collector instinct picked up with cards, or were you first really introduced to cards via Magic?
No, actually, when I was younger, I had been into Magic.
Okay.
So probably like 8 or 9 years old, which is like the typical age, I guess, for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I mean, I really got into it. So for Christmas, my birthdays, all I wanted was like Magic sets or Magic like tricks, and I had access to a couple different like Magic shops in the LA area. So it was easy for me to get that. I actually was performing when I was younger. And then in my teenage years, I was performing for like elementary school kids at like libraries and stuff like that.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, and I mean, I had like not like dinky. I mean, I had some like pretty decent props and stuff like that. So
that's cool.
Yeah. So I've been into Magic for a while. Then I stopped. Obviously, I mean, I'd mess around. You know what I mean? Like put a party and just a deck of cards like lying around. Maybe show some. But I stopped for a while, and then when I was living in Ventura.
I love Ventura.
Ventura's awesome. I was actually looking for a studio to teach dance because I was a breakdance hip hop teacher.
Nice.
So there was an abandoned building that was down the street from our house, and they had opened up. It was around Halloween, so it was one of those like spirit stores or whatever. And I had gone in there, and it used to be an old gym, and I noticed that there was a dance studio like where they were like housing all their inventory and stuff. And so I was asking who the building owner was. I got in touch with the building owner. He was actually there. And he said he would rent the space to me. So I rented it for like a couple weeks before I realized in the front of this building there was a little magic shop.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, "Oh, whose magic shop is this?" And he goes, "It's mine. I'm a magician and I have a magic shop." And I was like, "Oh shit." So that actually got me back into magic.
How old were you then?
This was back then, this is before I started collecting. So I was probably like 30 or something.
Oh, cool.
It's been a while since I've known them. So yeah, it was like into my adult life that I got back into like magic. Cool. Then he told me that they had fellowship meetings, so there were more magicians in the area. So I became part of that group, and then another magic shop nearby had closed down, and they had bought out the inventory. And with that inventory came like 150 different types of like bicycle or playing cards in general.
Nice.
And that's my first experience. That's where I saw the Black Tigers.
That's
and
really
then I saw that they had a whole bunch of other decks, and that's all I needed to know at that point. So,
that's cool.
Yeah.
No,
and then, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, so no, I was saying that's kind of how Decked Out started. Was I started doing research and I started getting into it. Like, a lot of us will start looking up things, and we'll see a deck and we might not know what it is. So we'll ask about our world, start like a Google search and stuff. And I saw that a lot of decks that we had, or they had, I say we because I had helped, I started helping them out, but they had value. So I started telling them, hey, like, because they were kind of struggling with money. So I was like, like you guys can sell these for a little bit more than, what you're selling them for right here, because these decks, like, they don't exist anymore, or they're super rare. And so I started kind of consulting for them. I started telling them, what decks, they needed to order, and hold in the shop, what decks they should set aside and maybe do eBay listings for instead of just putting them up at the retail shop. And then I took over their social media because they had no social media. So I started doing that. Then my wife was like, well, if you're going to do that, why don't you just do your own thing, and try to make something of it? So I decided to do Decked Out 365. And then the plan was to just highlight them as like the main shop that I dealt with and draw attention to them. And that's where I'm at now that's where it started.
Nice.
I
really
can't
cool.
help. I can't help but notice. Obviously, you have a bunch of stuff on the back wall.
Yeah.
What is everything? Give us a scoop.
Okay, so let's see, how can I Lightbox, those are 2 uncut sheets. That one in the corner, that first one, that is an uncut sheet that I had for my SoCal meetup, my second one.
Mm-hmm.
So I got signatures up there of everybody that attended it.
Nice.
Next to that, those are 2 prototype tuck prints for the benchmark playing cards.
Nice.
So yeah, that's the MPC version. The USPCC version is going to differ slightly. I actually did a giveaway for those. I think Ollie GB won those. The other uncut sheet is from Bo, who was a sponsor of the SoCal meetup, and that is the card
sheet. What sheet is that?
The DeVoe. It's the cardistry.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then from there, I have my aces for the benchmark playing cards. They're just kind of like inspiration pieces. And then some custom artwork that I did up there. So those canvases are a bunch of cut up cards, kind of mosaic together.
Nice.
Very cool.
So let's see this benchmark deck you got going on. I know you got the prototypes here.
If you guys can see that very well.
Nice. Yeah.
No, that looks good, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Spent a lot of time on this, kind of developing it and not rushing it. And yeah, I got to give props to Mike Hagan from 8 High Studios. He's my designer, he's my buddy.
Nice.
And he really took what I had in my head and laid it down. I mean, as close to perfect as I can think of. So
yeah, designers have talent like that, right?
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, if you have a vision and you don't think you can execute it like full, talk to designer, get the help of a designer and kind of flesh that out.
Nice.
So I think that's the best move I could have done, because if any of you seen my early attempts or concept,
I did, and let's just say, I did see your early attempts, and they were good attempts. But I'm glad you went with a designer.
Yeah, I mean, they were super, super basic, and I mean, I have no design background. I can throw down on pencil and paper, like I can draw. But I mean, it's another thing, because I mean, just the digital platform is just completely something that's foreign to me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how. If you see my videos, they're just like apps that I use on my phone. I mean, they're super. The production value on them it's just not very great. But I mean, I think it was nice to kind of try my hand at it and
for sure.
I mean, and some of these concepts, I might even want to revisit and maybe have a designer take a look at it and see if they can like build upon it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was literally using like a poster maker app, and you look at all, I mean, they're all like mirror designs. So it's I pick an object, put it on, and call it a day. Put a color background on it. But I wanted, for my first deck, my inaugural deck, I felt I owed it to the community to give them something fucking like kick ass. You know what I mean? As opposed to just a. If I want to do that later on, if I'm established, maybe. But I felt like I needed this first deck to be something that grabbed people's attention, and they were proud to own.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's important. I think, as we all know, there's a lot of decks that people put out that are rushed, that aren't very thought-based, kind of, and maybe they are thought-based on some of them, and they just miss the mark. But I think what it comes down to is a lot of people rush it to market, let's say, and it doesn't have the well-thought-out plan, to go through that whole process. And I think people need to really take anything that they do really seriously and be proud of it, and not just do it to do it. If you're going to do something and it's going to have your name attached to it, don't just throw something together. Like, think about it. If you can't afford a designer, that's fine. Yeah. Still reach out to a designer and maybe you can collaborate. Maybe you can do 50-50. Maybe, you can pay the designer after you, I guess, fulfill the campaign or something like that. There's many ways around it if you don't have the money to pay a designer. But I think, there's very few people that have that skill to design a deck themselves, right?
Yeah.
If you're a graphic designer, of course you have the ability to do that. But if you're just a standard person, like your everyday person, you may have a good idea, but if you hand it off to a designer, it'll be a great idea.
Oh,
man. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
it's the same thing with photography. I see so many photos out there that are this like super close to being a good image, and it's like, just do some research on how to take that shot. And you could, because the composition is there and the lighting is there, but just because they don't have the knowledge, they didn't take that extra step to figure out what could have made it better. So it's like, just whatever you have attached to your name, put the time in and make it good, or make it great.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you did that.
Yeah, thank you. And even with my benchmark account page, I see a lot of these other deck pages, and everything is so, they got a wonderful grid, all the renders are up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's cool, but sometimes you don't get that feel of like who's behind the campaign. Are they really like as active in the community, or are they just, just like slanging their wares? And I get it. I got to respect that kind of hustle. But I mean, if you look at mine looks like I put it together, but I feel like there's more transparency to it. You know what I mean? Like, because, as soon as I get like a render from Mike or something, these are the core cards, I'm rushing on there. I don't care how it looks. Like, I just want it out there so people can see. You know what I mean? And if I need to make a tweak later, that's not the final design, so be it. But I feel like that kind of involves the community and sees the process that it's going through. They can see the different versions,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's important. And I think the one thing, just as a photographer, I think, and I'm sure, it's musicians are the same way, artists, graphic designers. The more people that see it without spreading it to the world when it's not ready is good. Because if you show it to more eyes, other eyes can notice different things. Maybe I'm, Tyler maybe, might be paying more attention to detail, and maybe I've looked at something for 5 hours straight because I drew it, and I don't see something, and I hand it off to Tyler, and he's like, "Oh, bro, it only has 2 fingers. Like, you're missing 3 fingers." So I think putting it out there is cool, and I think there's a fine line between, like, let's say prematurely, however you want to call it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I think putting it out there, beforehand is really good. It will help with the creation side of it and fine tuning the mistakes and stuff like that. But you don't want to put it out too early, because you might turn people off too soon, where they'll be like, "Oh, that thing's trash," and be out the door or whatever.
I don't know. I felt like I was pretty confident in the product or what Mike put together. So, I mean, I don't feel bad, but I get what you're saying about how sometimes you just want to put everything out there. And then people have kind of like pulled me back a little bit and like, Lou, like calm down. You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking like, yeah, I want to foil this. No, we're going to follow this and this, you know what I mean? And then you really got to think like, okay, like how feasible is this? Like how can, so.
Yeah, for sure.
Stuff. But what was I going to say? The community's actually had a hand in kind of building and shaping this deck as well. So, I mean, I'll put out surveys sometimes with like 3 different versions.
Yeah.
And literally, I've gone with a lot of the community picks. So, literally, I mean, aside from my element in it, Mike's element, the community has actually had a say in how this deck has been developed. So,
yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll let Tyler take that one.
Well, no, and I think,
I know he likes diving into that side.
And I've seen a lot of the polls you've put up throughout the development or throughout the design process, which I thought was really cool. I mean, obviously, and I think there was a lot of discussion too, because, not only have you allowed people to partake in the design, but it hasn't been like an all or nothing kind of thing where it's like, oh, well, if people don't pick this one, I'm never going to do it. It's more of like, where do you want this first deck to be? And I think that was really a way to approach it, because then even if you have other ideas that you like more or on par with that, it doesn't prevent you from doing it in the future.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, those are design elements might not necessarily fit the style of this deck, but maybe down the line it might fit another version of something that I come up with. So yeah, but I think the thing that I'm stoked about most is actually the colors, because I was initially gonna do this because I mean this to me is like my version of a standard deck.
Yeah.
I even called it that in the beginning, but I was gonna go with blue and red because my inspiration was like bicycle cards. Um, but the community wanted custom colorways right off the bat, and that's what we went with. And I think it's a great decision because I mean I love the colors and how they came out. So
I think they look great. I dig the colors too. I'm glad you didn't just do blue and red. I'm so sick of seeing blue.
Thank
and
you.
red.
Yeah, I almost went that route.
When I see a blue and red, I'm just so turned off right now. You know, especially with and I'm not a huge fan of red anyway. You know, and see a really cool deck, and it's red. I'm just like, man, I'll buy it so I can support the person who's making it, but I'm just gonna sell it anyway because I don't like red.
Tell us how you really feel, bro. Let it out.
I mean, I am. You know, I'll still buy it to support people, but it'll go on my page when I get it because I'm not going to use a red deck. So
right.
I have one red deck, and it's the Bicycle Inspires. What?
I was gonna say the Pandrea XV3.
Oh no, yeah, that one too. So so I'm Pandrea decks obviously, but I have I think I might have like one or two here and there, but the only one I usually use, every once in a while, the Pandrea X deck, but other than that, probably the Bicycle Inspire, which is another Pandrea deck.
Yeah.
And actually, I want to say I think I put the Inspire up on the site just because I have the blue one, and I'm like, I don't need both of them, you know. So in my collection, obviously, I have all of them, and I have red decks in my collection.
Right.
You know, but for the most part, I'm not a fan of red, so I'm pretty excited that you went with purple. Purple's a huge color right now. Super.
Purple's good.
Yeah, it's definitely fire. I think the two big colors right now are purple and teal. You know.
Yeah. So no, I'm glad that we went with this, and who knows, maybe later eventually we'll release a blue and perhaps a red deck. I don't know. We'll see. But,
no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
But for now, this is what you guys will be getting. So
I'm
really
cool.
excited for this.
I love the colorways, and like you said, there's so much option down the road to find a V2 or a V3 or something that you like in the red and blue colorways, but make it unique to you. And I think that's one of the fun parts about it is obviously you're intending for this to be as much of a worker deck as possible, and everyone's seen a blue and a red deck. Sometimes a worker deck needs it switched up a little bit. I mean, I love a lot of the worker decks that I enjoy on a regular basis are like the ones that go with like black and white colorways, like the Paisley workers and all those.
There you go. Yeah.
Paisley, such a good deck.
Is it really? I've heard.
Bro. Such a good Paisley deck. The Paisley decks are so nice. They have a nice thin border. They feel great. They're so good.
But this is a different Paisley deck than the Paisley deck that I think was it Vanishing Ink put out.
Yeah, we're not talking about the Dapper. We're not talking about the Dapper deck. We're talking about
because I do not like that deck.
The Paisley's done by Dutch Card House. So the same ones who do like Leaves, Paisley, the Tulip. Diamond, Tulip, all those. So
I've heard good stuff about it. Are these ones marked as well or no?
I think the workers are not marked, actually.
Yeah, I don't think.
Okay.
I don't know, actually.
All right.
I think the only marked ones were the French blue and the French red, and then one other.
God, but dude, those thin borders are so nice on it.
Yeah. I love thin borders.
Yeah.
Thin borders are.
Are you going with thin borders on your deck?
They're thinner, but they're not thin. I would consider if you're like familiar with the MailChimps. Those are thin borders.
Those are thin. That's kind of like the Paisley.
Yeah. So, but these are. I don't know what the margin. I don't know the measurements on them, but they're not as thick as like a bicycle.
Okay.
Because you can see, it's not fully white. You have the little flourishes on there, and then the broken border element, which kind of give it a nice hourglass kind of profile, kind of illusion. Yeah. So
all about the hourglass, buddy.
It's
that silhouette, man. It's that silhouette.
I'm like a bloated Coke bottle that you're like. That's my shape right now.
Yeah, that's the COVID. That's the
yeah,
COVID.
we all got that quarantine body.
It is,
yeah.
man.
That's the
I mean, it's like
COVID.
on top of dad body, it's not working out too well right now.
COVID dad body. That's sexy.
There you go. Oh, Lou. So anything that you want to kind of shout out to the people out there as a good reason why they should go pick up a deck of benchmarks, which are now live on Kickstarter, which we're going to be linking to in the description below as well.
Gosh, I just hope that you guys truly like it. I'm never going to like force it on you guys. If you guys like it, support it. If you like me, support it. I think that we came up with a really cool looking deck. It's still easily recognizable as a deck of cards. You know what I mean? So if you're a musician, especially, I think that you could still use these without drawing any suspicion. I mean, there's nothing to draw suspicion on because they are regular cards. But I mean, it's just something if you want to change it up instead of blue or red. You know, we got two great color options for you. And the court cards too. I mean, they have matching colorways for them. So we didn't just two different color backs, same courts for both decks. Each deck has corresponding colorways with the court cards and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's custom enough, I think, for the collectors. I think it's a good deck. I hope you guys can all agree.
Right on. Yeah, it's definitely a cool deck. And all I gotta say, buddy, is go kick rocks.
We'll do that.
Go kick rocks or play with frogs, okay? One of the other.
Play with frogs. Go buy some benchmarks. That would be amazing.
No, absolutely.
Benchmark. Now, where did the name benchmark come up with? Was that even a sentence?
That was a sentence. You were good there.
Where did the name benchmark come up with? No, it didn't make any sense. Where did you come up with the name benchmark? There we go.
Okay, so this is actually a real fun story. Initially, the whole concept, like I said, I wanted my version of a standard deck of cards. So my version of bicycles. I was really influenced by that. Just having, solid background, white line work. So initially I wanted to call them standard. So decked out standard deck. And I was rolling with that. I mean, I was already putting posts up. This is the new deck. It's going to be decked out standard. So obviously there's that. And people are like, hey, there's a standard deck. I'm like, well, obviously I know that and I recognize that. But I'm not trying to obviously and this is just, it's a standard deck, like bicycle standards. Yeah. So I was kind of running with that. And I get an email from Dan Buck. Right. And he goes, hey, Lou, congrats. I heard that you're coming up with a deck. That's amazing. And Dan and I have corresponded in the past. We've talked a couple times. They actually sponsored the meetup and stuff like that. So we know of each other and stuff like that. So reaching out to him him reaching out to me wasn't like crazy, He goes, we love the deck, we love the concept, but we have to ask you not to use standards because we actually have it, I guess, copyright or trademark. So they own the rights to the word standards as it pertains to decks of cards. Okay. And I was like, hey, look, you know what I mean? Like, I hope I'm not trying to step on any toes. This is just my version of the standard. I didn't realize that you had it. Because he was like, if you need to look it up, I can give you article numbers. And I was like, no, we don't have to go there. Like, that's all. We're good. We're good, So I was frantically trying to figure out what to name this thing. And I think I put that to a poll. I was like, hey, these are a couple options that I'm thinking of. Yeah. What's it going to be, guys? And I forget where benchmark came from, but I was looking up synonyms for, is that the right word?
Yeah, synonyms for standards.
Yeah, for standard or whatever. Or I was looking for something that seemed like a little bit more regal. So yeah, but benchmark came across, and I had looked at it, and I said, "Shit, you know what? This is gonna set the tone for what decked out is gonna be. If I plan on producing more decks in the future, this has got to set the standard. This has got to be this has got to be my benchmark, you know. So every card after this, every deck after this, this is what's gonna be judged against is my first deck of cards. So that's where I went with benchmark. I looked it up. No one else has benchmark playing cards, and that's where we're at. And I think it's fitting. I think it's a wonderful name. I think it's a beautiful name, actually.
It fits perfectly.
So yeah, and if you know the story behind it, I think it makes sense. So
yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
and I think it definitely is a name that lends itself to not just a deck but a brand, which I'm excited to see, you know, where the brand goes.
Yeah. And I mean, I think I've been kind of putzing around with Decked Out for a while, just kind of like, you know, I put so much work into Decked Out that it's like a second job, and I'm not getting paid for this shit. You know what I mean? Like, I do it purely out of enjoyment and for the community interaction and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right.
But with pandemic hitting and stuff like I need to take myself to the next level. It's been 2 years and I need to do something with it. So Decked Out as a brand is something that I'm slowly working on, and hopefully Benchmark kind of pops that off, and then I can start looking at different avenues. So hopefully monetize a little bit, just so I can actually, even if I have to just pay for my hobby, if this pays for my hobby, like, I'm straight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I think you know, what you're doing is great for the community, and you know, we appreciate that. And you know, everybody, Benchmark cards are available now on Kickstarter. We are going to leave the link below. Go check it out. Support Lou. And
is it here? Is it there?
It's down here.
Yeah, it'll be down there. So
okay.
That way we don't have to go like this and figure out which way it is.
There you go.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
dude, thank you so much, Lou.
Thanks, man.
We appreciate you, and
we're really glad to have you on.
What else you have coming after Benchmark?
Yeah, man.
Guys, thank you so much for having me. It's been fun, and yeah, thanks again. Thank you for all of you that tuned in, of course, and don't forget Benchmark playing cards live now on Kickstarter. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
I missed the fanning on Friday, so there you go.
There you go.
Exactly. All right, buddy.
Well, thanks everyone for checking out this episode of Deckin Around Community Corner. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And Lou, again, we really appreciate you coming on, man.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. Peace.
Peace.